What's been clicking for you guys during this winning streak?
Uh, I have to say Gillespie, Udria, and Costa. You know, they're the ones that have been clicking for us. They're doing a great job getting on base, quality at bats, and some good run production.
What is it about Coral with, I think she's hitting 525, pretty large sample size. What's she done this year to take that step?
Well, I think it's very difficult, especially when you're not, you don't really have the short game available to you. To hit over 500 at this point in the season is awesome. But she's really seeing the ball pretty deep, and going to all fields. It's not like she's showing a weakness right now. And I think that's big for her, is continue to have the ability to go to both fields, left and right.
Sheridan getting the strikeouts record. What does that say about her?
Well, obviously her ability to miss the bat. I think that's huge, and she's going to continue to increase that record as she goes along. And she's really shown some good stuff, throughout the season. We just got to get her to eliminate some of the walks. But, as a pitcher, she just has that ability to miss the bat.
Did Jess Moore say anything to you guys or to her? Was there anything said back? Obviously, those two probably pretty close in her passing that record.
Not yet. Jess is probably she's a competitor, but I'm sure she's pretty happy for Sheridan. They were both teammates at one time, and Jess certainly helped Sheridan along as a pitcher.
How do you feel like the pitching staff is coming along so far this year?
We haven't quite figured that out yet. I mean, we're having some quality starts, and then we're having some poor starts. I think right now that I think my ability to try and work them together and use all three of those together, possibly maybe not so much going seven strong innings, but maybe kind of using them, maybe as one as a starter, one as a middle, and one as a closer. I'm kind of trying to figure that out, and hopefully this weekend will give us an opportunity to try some of that.
Does your strategy change in pitching different players when you have, when you get in a Pac-12 play and you have game a day and not double headers like that?
Yeah, I mean, typically you'd like to try and hide somebody from that first day, but right now I think we have to go out and just win a game. And if that means having to use all 3 or 4 in one day, that's what we're going to have to do. Traditionally what I've done is I've let my pitches go longer and get them to work out of it, but right now we're not doing that. But what's good about it is that they're there for each other, and that's what I've got to do. I've got to kind of maybe not go quite as long and maybe use them more as a unit.
You've talked in the past about having like a pitching staff, and I guess what we're used to the last decade in softball is you have a pitcher that'll go one whole game, another pitcher goes a whole game. You see more and more coaches developing that sort of staff like you are?
Well, definitely. I think if you look at Florida, they've won it the last 2 years, and they've used 3 pitchers in all their series, and that's what we've kind of missed a little bit. We haven't really had a staff, so to speak. It's been one pitcher, and we kind of rest our laurels on that. And obviously, Hovengate's been awesome and been great, but she hasn't noticeably been that starter. We would start in a big game. We'd always start our number 1. I think that's something we may have to rethink, especially going forward. Next year we have a couple others coming in that are going to be pushing for that starting role. So, but this year, right now, Hawkins is still the number 1 until she proves otherwise or disproves, I suppose. But we feel good about Kleist and Glasgow, and we want to kind of push them a little bit more.
The final tournament coming up kind of before Pac-12 play starts. How have you felt about your team in the non-conference? You guys had the series with Lafayette and Kentucky as well. How have you felt you guys played in the non-conference overall?
Well, I think what stood out the most is we've been down a number of times, because we've given up a few more runs than we normally do from the pitching staff, but we've our ability to come back, and so we're not out of it at any time. And I think that we've got to stress that with our players, that as long as we have an out left, we can continue to push and maybe claw our way back and not worry about being down. On the other side of the coin, I'm saying to our pitchers, don't worry about getting behind, don't worry about giving up a run, continue to battle and give us your best stuff. And so that's what we got to do right now, is kind of really compete as a team and don't get worried so much about the defense letting the offense down, the offense letting the defense down. We got to really kind of, we got to come out with a W. That's the number 1 goal of the team right now.
I know you guys are kind of focused on right here, right now, but have you let yourself look and see, how much support has already been drawn for, that Stanford series is sold out, and for the new stadium, do you think that's going to really change the trajectory of your season, you think, potentially?
Well, hopefully not. I mean, we try to take one game at a time, all that good stuff, but, it is exciting to be coming home and having a packed series. It's sold out, there's no seat available, and then, that UCLA series coming shortly after that with another 1,000 seats. We'd love to see that sold out too, and get that fan support. I think the team and the ladies have worked really hard over the years to kind of have this opportunity, and we'd love to have the support of the community behind us and continue to make that a tough ticket to get.
Just in general, do you feel like that a season maybe doesn't start or doesn't really get going until you play a couple home series?
Well, for us, we just traditionally always been on the road the first 4 or 5 weeks, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, we want to make sure we have a good record coming into Pac-12, because it is a tough. Any team can beat any team. Utah, Oregon State, they're both very tough teams right now, and even the Stanford series, they've beaten a couple of good teams already. So it's going to be a challenge for us, especially when we haven't played on the field yet. We won't get on the field till the week of the games. I mean, it's going to be the same for both teams. I think that's what we're going to look at too, and we're used to playing on foreign fields, so it shouldn't be a big issue for us.
Have you seen Mira Nelson from Oregon State at all?
Yes, just a little bit, and she's pretty impressive. She's thrown very, very well, and they have a very capable offensive unit out there. They've got a lot of experience, good speed. They're going to do well in this conference. They're going to upset some people, and hopefully it's not us.
Thanks, Coach.
Right.
Thanks, guys.